Welcome back to Tipping Point Files, the channel where we break down global crises, survival strategies, and the decisions that shape our future. It begins as an ordinary morning in New York City. The streets are alive with the familiar rhythm of traffic, laughter, and ambition. People rush to work, children head to school, and the skyline glows in the early light. Then, without warning, a blinding flash erupts on the horizon, brighter than the sun, hotter than anything imaginable. In that instant, time seems to freeze. The world's greatest city is changed forever. Windows shatter, sirens scream, and the comforting hum of daily life is replaced by chaos and confusion. The line between peace and catastrophe vanishes in a single heartbeat. For millions, the next few seconds will define everything that follows. As the dust begins to settle, the true scale of the disaster emerges, and the first 72 hours of survival begin. In the first second, a fireball engulfs the heart of the city, vaporizing everything within its core. Temperatures soar to millions of degrees, turning steel and concrete to dust. The shockwave follows, racing outward at hundreds of miles per hour, flattening buildings, tossing vehicles like toys, and shattering glass for miles. The air itself seems to ignite, and a deafening roar drowns out every other sound. For those at ground zero, survival is impossible. But just beyond the blast zone, fate hangs in the balance. The science is brutal. Intense heat causes instant burns, while the pressure wave crushes lungs and collapses structures. Radiation pulses outward, invisible but deadly, searing its mark on everything it touches. In the chaos, people stagger from the wreckage, dazed and injured, struggling to comprehend what has happened. Phones go silent, power grids fail, and the city's lifelines are severed in an instant. Confusion reigns. No one knows if this is an accident, an attack, or the end of the world. Survival in the first minute is pure chance. Or is it? For those just outside the blast, the next decisions will mean everything. As the initial shock fades, the city erupts into chaos. First responders, firefighters, paramedics, police race toward the devastation, risking their lives to save others. But the scale of destruction is overwhelming. Roads are blocked by debris, bridges are gone, and the air is thick with dust and radiation. Communication networks collapse, cell towers are down, emergency radios jammed with desperate calls for help. In command centers, officials scramble to assess the situation, but information is scarce and confusion reigns. Meanwhile, civilians are left to fend for themselves. Some try to help the wounded, while others flee in terror, unsure where safety lies. Parents search for children, friends are separated, and rumors of more attacks spread like wildfire. Supermarkets and pharmacies are overrun as people panic buy whatever they can grab. The line between order and chaos blurs. Some neighborhoods band together, while others descend into fear and violence. In the midst of this turmoil, every decision matters. Where to shelter, how to find loved ones, whether to stay or run. These choices will shape not just the next few hours, but the fate of families and communities for years to come. The decisions made now will echo for decades, as the city's future hangs in the balance. As the dust cloud rises above the city, a new, invisible threat begins to descend. Radioactive fallout. Tiny particles, carried by the wind, settle over neighborhoods, parks, and rooftops, turning familiar places into danger zones. The first 12 hours are the most critical. Radiation levels are at their highest, and every minute spent outside increases the risk of deadly exposure. Survivors scramble for shelter, desperate to find basements, subway tunnels, or any space with thick walls and few windows. Those who understand the science know that time, distance, and shielding are their only allies. Inside makeshift shelters, families huddle together, sealing doors and windows with whatever they can find: towels, plastic, duct tape. The air is tense with fear and uncertainty. Radios crackle with official instructions. Stay indoors, avoid contaminated water, and wait for further updates. But not everyone hears the warnings. Some, unaware of the danger, venture outside in search of loved ones or supplies, unknowingly risking their lives. Hospitals and emergency centers are overwhelmed, struggling to treat burns, injuries, and radiation sickness with dwindling resources. The city's infrastructure, already crippled, teeters on the edge of collapse. Every minute outside is a gamble with your life. In these first hours, knowledge and quick action are the difference between survival and tragedy, as the city's fate is rewritten by the silent, deadly rain. As night falls over New York, the city is plunged into an unnatural darkness. Power grids are down, streetlights are dead, and the familiar glow of the skyline is gone. Survivors rely on flashlights, candles, or the faint blue light of battery-powered radios, if they have them. The breakdown of infrastructure is complete. Water stops flowing, gas lines are ruptured, and emergency services are stretched to the breaking point. Hospitals operate by generator, rationing care and supplies as the wounded continue to arrive. Information is scarce and unreliable. Rumors swirl in the shadows about more bombs, about rescue convoys, about what's happening beyond the city limits. Some huddle around radios, desperate for official updates, while others are left in total silence, cut off from the outside world. The psychological toll is immense. Hunger, thirst, and exhaustion set in, but it's the uncertainty that gnaws at everyone's resolve. Parents try to comfort children, friends cling to each other, and strangers become allies or rivals in the struggle to survive. In the darkness, fear and hope battle for control. Some find strength in community, while others are paralyzed by dread. The city waits for dawn, knowing that the world it wakes to will never be the same. As the second day dawns, the scale of the disaster becomes painfully clear. Rescue teams, local, state, and federal, begin to penetrate the city's shattered core, but progress is agonizingly slow. Rubble blocks the streets, radiation zones force detours, and every step forward is a battle against chaos. Helicopters circle overhead, searching for signs of life, while first responders dig through debris with bare hands, listening for voices in the silence. Medical care is stretched to the breaking point. Makeshift triage centers spring up in schools and churches, but supplies run low and doctors must make impossible choices. The wounded wait for help that may never come, and the healthy struggle to care for the sick with little more than hope and determination. As hours pass, survivors realize that help may not arrive for days. The illusion of control fades, replaced by a new reality. Power and weakness are redefined in the ruins. Those who adapt, who share resources and skills, stand the best chance. In the aftermath, survival is no longer about strength alone. It's about resilience, cooperation, and the will to endure when the world has changed forever. By the third day, the city's survivors face a stark new reality. Food and clean water are scarce, and desperation grows, but so does adaptation. Small groups form, pooling resources and knowledge. Natural leaders emerge, sometimes first responders, sometimes ordinary citizens, organizing shelter, rationing supplies, and keeping hope alive. In some neighborhoods, order begins to return as people work together, while in others, fear and scarcity spark conflict and chaos. The boundaries between strangers blur as survival becomes a shared mission. The world that emerges will never be the same. The first 72 hours have redrawn the map of power, trust, and community. For those who endure, every decision and alliance now shapes the uncertain future that lies ahead. The first 72 hours after a nuclear strike reveal the razor-thin line between chaos and control, between those who are prepared and those caught off guard. In the face of disaster, it's not just strength or luck that determines survival. It's knowledge, adaptability, and the ability to act under pressure. The unprepared are swept away by panic and confusion, while the prepared find ways to endure, organize, and help others. Community, clear thinking, and a willingness to adapt become the new currency of survival. For the world watching, the lesson is clear. Readiness is not a luxury, but a necessity. The decisions made in minutes can shape decades, and the habits built in peace can save lives in crisis. The next decision could shape the next century. Are you ready? Thanks for watching Tipping Point Files. If this episode made you think, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a breakdown of the critical moments that define our world. Stay safe and stay prepared.